Meeting is being recorded. Looks like Kim and Dave just hopped back on. Since Sam is still in dual meetings at the moment, I'll go ahead and do the roll call and everything. So calling Prairie View Ranch Water District meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. January 13th, 2025. This meeting is being recorded and we do have a quorum of the board. So Marcy, are you here?
I am.
Mia Hamikar, are you here?
I am.
Sam Belmonte?
I am here.
And Randy Moore is excused. They're on vacation, I think down in Florida or California, one of the two. Moving on to members of the community and others who are joining. We've got Emil and Jeff from Wells Law Firm. Mary Bates, a homeowner. Ryan Norton, another homeowner. And Sheila Brown, also a homeowner.
Are Kim and Dave on the call?
Kim and Dave, yeah, Kim and Dave are on now too. And of course, okay. Kira Gregory from CDPHE. Did I miss anybody?
I don't think so.
Okay, so yes, we do have a quorum. I believe, I think Mia doesn't have filed conflict with the SOS, but hers is pretty much the same as everyone else here. We all live here. That's the main one. So our main agenda item is just to kind of touch base with Kira at CDPHE. We've had some pretty recent developments and important updates regarding the enforcement order. So sounds like since the EPA can't join us, it'll mostly be talking about state level matters.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jesse. Did you want me to jump in, or was there any other business that you needed to take care of before I dive in?
No, go right ahead.
Okay, perfect. So for those of you who haven't met me, my name's Kira Gregory. I'm with the Water Quality Control Division in the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. My role is as a drinking water coach. Essentially, my job is to travel around the state and help systems build their technical, managerial, and financial capacity. I've been working with Jesse and the board for a number of years now, really trying to troubleshoot, of course, your main water quality issues. And I'm just really happy to be here with you all today. Really grateful that y'all invited me. So thank you so much for that. Jesse, so I just wanted to go over the fact that the most recent enforcement order information, if we want to go over that, we can. I just we'll probably need some time to chat with Sam before I can review that. So most of today will kind of be an update on the work group, the kind of water and consolidation work group that we've started.
Okay, yeah, it's understandable.
Yeah, good deal. But I am happy to answer those questions. Just probably need more context from my colleagues before I can really dive in there. So let me just share with you some of kind of the updates on the work we've done so far with this water group. And thank you so much, Jesse. This is kind of the draft document that we have all started together. Essentially, the way that your enforcement order will work is one of the next steps that is going to be due in the coming months is an implementation schedule. So essentially, we are going to take the central goal of consolidation, right, and put that as, goal number 10, right? And then there will be 9 goals leading up to that. So really, we're building a roadmap for you all to come back into compliance with the state regs, and of course that final goal that we're all excited about, which is consolidation with Morgan County quality water. So the way that we do this with project management is we're gonna, again, like I said, have one end goal and basically break that down into bite-sized pieces. So we've actually started with some of the, I would think, more immediate goals that we have defined so far. This is by no means done, but I think the best way to do project management is to dive in with the most obtainable goals. So the first one, I think, is to really get y'all back into audit and budget compliance with the state treasurer, right? This will mean this will open up a world of funding opportunities, essentially. So the first step to that is going to be hiring a CPA. And as Jesse mentioned earlier, we are working with the EPA contractor EPIC, and I can shoot y'all their website in a second. I have it pulled up. Let me just put that in the chat real quick. This is the Environmental Policy Innovation Center. And the way it usually works with government contracts, right, is it's like a first, second, third party. So essentially, the EPA will be paying, will be supplying a grant to the Environmental Protection Innovation Center, who will then hire out a CPA to assist you all. And they have, let me just, like I said, put that website here. There you go. So I'm really excited. I've never worked with EPIC before, but they come highly recommended. So essentially, I wanted to give you all kind of an update on the next steps with them. Step number one, they will meet with the board, as many board members as possible. So hopefully a board meeting, but it could also be the work group that we have kind of scheduled regular Tuesday meetings. So those are kind of two options. I think at some point they would like to meet with the board, but they don't want any of the work held up. So I did invite them to this meeting. By the time I was able to connect with them after the holidays, they weren't able to make it. So I do apologize that they're not here with me today, but just know that I've had several meetings with them. And they have, you know, started their process, essentially kind of opened a ticket for Prairie View Ranch Water District. So their first step will be to meet with you all. They're going to introduce the services that they can provide, and essentially make sure that we are all in agreement on the scope of work that y'all need from that third party that they're going to hire. So that'll be a third party CPA. You know, the kind of request that we have had coming out of the work group is for an audit, right? So y'all can get back into audit compliance with the state treasurer. And then in my discussions with EPIC, they are suggesting to add on to that a cost of service analysis for Prairie View Ranch Water District and Morgan County Quality Water. And they'll be able to tell you more about kind of the reasoning behind it. As far as I understand it, the idea there is what will be the cost of consolidation and how will that be distributed in the rates of Prairie View Ranch Water District customers and Morgan County Quality Water customers. So that's definitely some food for thought. By no means do you have to accept that service from them, but I do think a cost of service analysis could go a long way to helping to understand what consolidation will look like. Yeah, go ahead, Jeffrey. I think you're muted.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that. Just a quick question. I know that Quality Water does an updated cost of service study for all of their different systems. Would this be tailored to? Would this be a separate study from what they do, or will it kind of dovetail into what they do?
That's a better question for EPIC, but I do believe that it would dovetail well into what they're doing.
All right, thank you.
And I know that they're willing to work with Prairie View Ranch and Morgan County Quality Water, because I'm really exclusively providing coaching for Prairie View. I didn't want to speak for you all or for Morgan County Quality Water. So again, I think this is where next steps are best, probably with EPIC, which again, I apologize that they're not here with me tonight. So once again, you all kind of meet and agree on what the next steps are and what the real need is, defining that scope of work is what you'll be doing with those meetings. EPIC will issue you a letter of intent. You would then adopt that as a board, again, to agree essentially on a scope of work. After that, they're going to be hiring a CPA for that audit. So I think that's exciting news that we have that coming up. These things do take time, and especially with the holidays, so I appreciate everybody's patience. I know I am very excited to get this going, and any delay can feel a little bit frustrating, so I definitely feel any pain that's out there around this. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Sorry about that, Kara. as
Not at
far
all.
as the grant, the grant goes, is there a separate grant agreement through the EPA? Does it come through the EPA or does it CDPHE that issues the grant for the process with EPIC? And then is Prairie View the fiscal agent for that grant, or is CDPHE the fiscal agent?
So CDP, that's such a good question. CDPHE is not the, will not be involved in the process outside of helping you all kind of make sure that it happens, essentially. So we won't be holding anything, and you won't be working directly with the EPA at all. EPIC is essentially a contractor of the EPA. You can think of, they receive grant money, but you can also think of it as a contractor. So that money is going to go directly to the CPA. And how I believe it happens is that EPIC handles all of the financial ends of things, and that y'all are just signing that letter of intent to say, yes, we will accept these services. I don't want to speak too much about that because I've never, again, done this process, but I don't believe that you all will be holding the grant, no. What I do want to clarify with them is if you all will incur the costs and then be reimbursed, because I know that that might present an issue. And if it does, we'll find a way around it, but I do think you're correct. That could be a potential roadblock. So that's a good thing. So what I did is actually invited EPIC kind of preemptively to our next meeting that we have with this kind of water work group, which would be 6 p.m. on January 21st. So essentially what I'm proposing is that I would begin attendance of that meeting with you all and then actually leave, and EPIC, would come in and conduct the meeting as if they were kind of leading the coaching ticket. And the reason this is they actually asked me to step out. They're kind of like, the way we find it best if we work one-on-one with the community without any other interested parties. So if y'all are okay with that, I'm totally fine with it. But really you are driving the ship here. So that's how they normally do things, I guess, is what they're telling me. So, we can open up some discussion to make sure that all board members are in approval of me inviting, EPIC to that meeting. Once they issue that letter of intent and you all sign it and agree to it, they will start gathering background documents. So I think this is where we can start the work now. Kind of while we're waiting for them to draft the scope of work, the letter of intent, and hire the CPA, right? I think it would just be about, that's what I hope we can establish at that meeting on the 21st is what will EPIC need from Prairie View Ranch? And so we can start diving into that next, because I think there's going to be a little bit of research even to kind of understand what those needs are. So once they hire that CPA for the audit, like I said, I believe they will also add, with your approval, of course, the cost of service analysis in there. Likely it'll be the same contractor who does both, but I think that could change depending on who we get, right? So any questions? I know I've been talking a lot. Any questions on that update, either from EPIC, technical assistance, or from kind of our definition of our short-term goals on that implementation schedule?
Just wanted to comment that in the report that was submitted, there is somewhat of a schedule, but I think it's not quite the same as what you're looking for. But at least we've got something from their end to start with.
Okay, good. And would that be for the purposes of the implementation schedule?
I think that's kind of what Koger was shooting for.
Great. That's really great. That's smart of them to put that in there. And I think we can use that as even more of a template because, like we've kind of identified in our recent meetings, we almost have to do a pre-implementation schedule right now because so much of our work is still kind of in the research and gearing up phases, which compliance understands. So it'll be nice to have like a larger, the larger goal looked at in bite-sized pieces. That'll be great. I guess while we're on the topic, were y'all kind of pleased with that? I don't know if this is an adequate space to discuss that or not, but how did the report come out?
Not perfect, but definitely better than it was looking, spring of 2024. So,
Good.
Yeah, I think we're, it hits all the main points.
Good. Okay. And I know, again, this gets more into project management territory, but if you want help in terms of determining next steps for that, kind of how we can get it through to the finish line, please let me know, and I'm happy to help either brainstorm what the next steps are or, implement them with you.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So, Jesse, if you want to stay on at the end of this call, or anybody else, definitely let me know. I did want to mention, I guess I'll take another brief pause and drink some water. Any other questions on the EPIC technical assistance or the implementation schedule draft? Okay. I think in terms of another key item that we identified in this draft project plan or implementation schedule is just the need to build out your administrative support. One of the first priorities is to gather in a space where we can have access to Wi-Fi. And that's actually in my, the ball's in my court to coordinate that. So I will make sure that we do that prior to our next meeting. So hopefully, I guess is what I'm saying, the meeting on the 21st next week will be in person. So appreciate your apologies on that. I've had some personal items come up, so thanks for your patience. We do also have I just wanted to put this out there for other folks who haven't been on that kind of work group. We do have a need for laptops, and we do have a need for folks that will help gather the audit documents, and also reach out to the treasurer to identify what audits and budget documents are outstanding. So again, just in terms of administrative support, we really have three needs. The first one is going to be space, which I'm happy to coordinate. The second one is going to be laptops or, something to work on. And then third would be folks to help with, again, just general admin work. The most prescient goal for admin work is going to be helping gather audit documents. So we certainly don't need to figure that out today, but I do want to put that kind of on everybody's radar as just an upcoming need. Again, we'll be, right, EPIC will be able to help you all with that process of gathering those documents, but we do need boots on the ground to make that happen. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
I see one barrier to that, and it may make things difficult, is that I think some of the documentation information that we need is going to be held by people that used to be involved, and we're currently in some litigation with them to get information. Okay. So I'm hoping that we can get enough, but I think as far as the goals and the draft compliance order, that there's little leeway in there because there may be some things outside the control of the current board.
Yeah, I completely understand that. I really appreciate that point. I think my suggestion as a coach will be that we build adequate time into the proposed implementation schedule to account for that litigation. So I really appreciate you bringing that up because I think that we will need to consider that. Right, the way an implementation schedule works for an enforcement order is y'all are essentially proposing your due dates, and then we, my colleagues would be accepting them or negotiating new ones, right? So I think this is where being very intentional about when we set those due dates, especially for the audits, is really crucial. A look ahead, I think the next big step is really going to be evaluating again and doing some research to understand what the state treasurer actually needs so that we can properly identify the scope of work for EPIC. So I'm more than willing to help with that process. I'll just need, again, some direction from you all and, some assistance with that administrative piece of things. I don't know if this is a good space for that or not, but again, we can talk about that at our upcoming meeting as well. And then another goal that I think you all had really identified is with this eventual intergovernmental agreement, right? You've kind of got the first one out of the way. Next one is going to be more about the true consolidation. And I think there's a lot of different steps that need to happen kind of in parallel to get that IGA, right? That really is one of the kind of like clinch pin moments, right? Where if we don't have a good IGA with Morgan County Quality Water, it kind of halts the whole process. So I think I will leave it up to you all in terms of what the next steps are for that, getting that IGA started. I think legal consultation may be a place to start. I think asset inventory is also a good place to start. I will reach out to some other technical assistance providers and consult with EPIC to see, after we read the report that you've just had done, does there need to be additional asset inventory? And I know that this also may be something that could be part of the litigation process. So again, when we're building that asset inventory as a goal in our implementation schedule, we're going to need to factor that in. So I do understand that as well, that some of the assets may be in question. So yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely quite a bit of assistance and quite a bit of work to do. Those are kind of my two take homes from our update with the work group. You know, I think I encourage anybody who is interested in providing administrative support or just brain partnership, or even cheerleading, I think we would all welcome at this point for the water work group, is more than welcome. Please let me know, and I can add you to the invite. That meeting that we have is pretty much every other Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. We meet for about an hour, so it's not a huge lift. And I think it is going a long way to make sure that these project management processes are happening. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Looking at my notes, I believe that was kind of my major talking points. Of course, there are upcoming general compliance and enforcement order due dates. Again, I think Sam Fano is probably the best person to go to for that, but if you have any questions, I can try and answer those to the best of my ability now. Anybody from the work group? Did I miss anything? Anything else we'd like for me to address?
Not on my end. I'll definitely stay on, you know, after this call to talk more about, you know, the details, or we could do that on the next, our regular Tuesday call, whatever you prefer. Oh, Sheila's got something to say.
Yeah, go ahead, Sheila. We're not hearing you, Sheila, if you're talking.
Did we get DOLA invited to a meeting? Because on this spreadsheet, it says that is overdue.
Yes, that is my fault for being overdue, so I apologize. Did you want me all to spearhead that, or was that something that you wanted to come from you?
Well, that on the spreadsheet it says you're the lead on that.
And
somebody can make.
Kyra, I know Greg Edel very well. I've worked with him a lot in the past. If you would, but I also know when he gets poked by another agency, he tends to work a little bit faster. So I will reach out to him, but if you could give him a little bit of, hey, we've got this project, I'll reach out to him as well and get him in the process and see what we can't do for getting some, because I know they have technical assistance grants and other things that may be helpful in this process.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great point, Sheila, and thank you, Jeff, for being willing to reach out. I will certainly also just say, hey, Jeff, just saying, or excuse me, hey, Mr. Edel's just saying, you know, this is invites coming. I'm happy to go with you, whatever it'll take, right? I think if we can also get somebody from grants and loans there as well, that could be helpful. Just because I think what's probably going to happen is it's going to be dual funded between DOLA and CDPHE. I'm seeing that happen more and more. Like it'll be state revolving fund, right? Likely, or, you know, that kind of new bucket we have through the infrastructure law. But either way, I think it'll be helpful to have both agencies. So are you all right if I send you a few emails to kind of CC on that email to DOLA, Jeff, and then I can also let them know, hey, I mean, they're going to be very excited. So, perfect.
Yeah, that'll work.
So if you wouldn't mind putting your email in the chat, that I can get those addresses to you. So it may work, and my suggestion may be to have a little bit of a longer meeting in February and just get all 3 agencies there at once, right? You would have EPIC, DOLA, and CDPHE financial folks. If that seems like maybe too much of a lift, we can break it up. I just think with the momentum that we've got right now, I suggest we keep it moving, but I'll leave that up to you all.
I think that might be helpful to get all 3 people in the room, 3 entities in the room, because some grants require matching funds, and sometimes matching funds can come from other agencies, and sometimes they cannot. And I think it'd be helpful to have everybody in the room to say, these are the grants we're looking at, and we need to know how we can, I guess, beg, borrow, and steal from each other to meet the requirements of each agency.
Yeah,
So I think it's good to have them all in the room at the same time if we can.
Okay, good deal. So would that be a February 10th, 6 p.m. meeting?
We can make that happen as a special meeting or something else if not everybody can make that.
Great. And thanks again for that offer to stay on, Jesse. I'm happy to stay on after the meeting adjourns. If folks have other questions or again want to do some just quick work group meeting, because I know I had to cancel last week, which I apologize for. Yeah, I think that's it for me. So whatever's next in your agenda, I'll hand it over back to you all. And I just want to again congratulate you for the momentum that you've created and are sustaining, and I'm here to make sure that any roadblocks don't keep that momentum from continuing. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me, even if you're not a part of the work group. If you've got questions, I'll go ahead and put my contact information into the chat. And thank you again for inviting me. It's been a while that I've been working with y'all, and this is my first board meeting, so thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, that was pretty much the only agenda item, was to cover all this stuff. Any other community comments or feedback? Thanks, Kira, for putting your contact info in the chat.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I didn't have anything.
Alrighty, I think we can adjourn. That does mean that we can't have a quorum if Kira and I are going to continue talking tonight. But yeah, if anybody has anything else, let me know. Otherwise, Kira and I will keep going.
Did you want anybody to stay, Jesse?
Can only
besides
be
you?
Yeah, it could only be one other board member.
Right.
But anyone else is welcome to hang out.
And Jesse, let me know if anything comes up or if you have any questions.
Will do, Jeff. Thanks for attending.
Yep, we'll talk to you later.
All right, take care.
Yep, take care.
Alrighty, so meeting adjourned.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Thanks again, y'all.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
So I think 3 items that I had for us at our last meeting. One would be, again, reaching out to the treasurer to see where we're at with audits and budgets. What else did I just talk about? Sorry, it's been a long day. I think evaluating if additional asset inventory is needed, and that's going to be based off of the engineering report. Just out of curiosity, I haven't gotten a chance to look at it. Did that engine, was there like how did they classify the engineering report? Because there's a lot of different types of engineering reports.
Yeah, PER, preliminary engineering report.
Okay, awesome. EPIC was wondering about that, so I'll let them know that information. Okay, good. So PERs usually do have quite a bit of asset inventory. So I'm sure to the extent that they could, they took stock of kind of what is owned and what is in the ground. Oh, the other thing I had is the sam.gov number. Can you remember where we left that, Jesse? That fell off of my radar and I can't find a follow-up in my email.
Yeah, let me switch to that tab. I think, did I have that in the notes or where did I put that? Oh, yeah. So I verified this. The first number, the one starting in UAE, is our unique entity ID number, and then our cage code is the 9P0P6.
Okay.
And recently I logged back into sam.gov, and also there's another one that we had to do. Oh, yeah, there's in relationship to one of the new grants that was recently announced through Department of Interior and USDA, the one about water rights acquisition and stuff. When I clicked on that and kind of followed it, it brought me to a place where I could do a pre-application for that. And I think that's where I learned that we still had some other login that we needed to create at login.gov or something like that. So made a little bit more progress on that stuff. I think it's set up properly and completely. I'm just not an expert enough to know if it is or not.
Okay. So I'm wondering if this is where we need to bring in some of my colleagues in the grant loans unit and in DOLA. So I think let's probably add this to the agenda for the meeting that they attend. Or can we see if we can get an Erin to one of our work group meetings? Because I know she'd be willing to attend that.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay, so let me just put that in here as a to-do.
Be good to have peace of mind that some little digital bit hasn't been flipped and it needs to be at the last minute or something.
Yeah, totally agree. Okay, so what I might do is just consult with her based off the information that you gathered, and then would you like for me to invite her to the next work group meeting or one in February?
Yeah, the next one would be good.
Okay, great. So I'll invite Erin to the meeting on the 21st.
Cool.
And I can just send that out today. So what are the next steps, do we think, just in terms of getting the really research done to evaluate where we stand with the state treasurer?
Yeah, I think our council can probably help with that a lot. Like he said, it's probably going to be kind of hung up on litigation and everything.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the most important thing, even for Jeff to know, or for our attorney to know at this point, is what do we actually need to do? What does the OSA want to? Does this go back to 2018? Is it just since we took over the board? And I've asked that question to Crystal Dorsey over email several times this year and didn't get any response. Okay.
So you've already reached out to Crystal. I reached out to her and she gave an answer. It was fine. I just don't know if we have, she should say, I have the understanding to really process what she said. So I almost wonder if it's like, can we get a meeting with her and Erin and myself and some folks from Prairie View, right? So that y'all can ask your questions. And I know it's a meeting to talk about a meeting is what this all feels like. But yeah, that's would be my suggestion. What do y'all think about that?
Yep, sooner the better, in my opinion.
Okay, great. Crystal. And that would probably have to be during the day, just knowing that agency. So I don't know, Ryan, Sheila, Sam, if any of y'all would be available. I know Jesse's not available during the day.
I can make time for something like that.
Okay.
And that's something I'd like our council to be on for too.
Okay, great.
I can be there anytime.
Perfect.
As long as I don't have a schedule conflict, Jesse, I can.
All right, well, why don't I send out a doodle then? I mean, first I got to get permission from Crystal that she'll actually meet with us, but then I'll make sure that Aaron Riley's there, and then we can invite. Who's your doodle guy again? Sorry, I lost his name in my head.
Greg Edel.
Greg, thank you. Yeah, so I'll start by reaching out to Crystal, Aaron, and Greg and just getting everybody's okay, and then we'll move forward with the doodle.
Okay.
So that'll be.
So yeah, be sure to include Jeff Wells on that doodle.
Heard, yes. So I think in terms, okay, so it sounds like sam.gov is all figured out. We'll just get a double check on that from Erin, and she can just attend a work group meeting. I will reach out to propose a meeting with Crystal, and Dola and Erin, and do a doodle. And then I think it's just going to be a matter of asking, like sending the report, that the PER that you just got to EPIC once you guys kind of establish a working relationship, and then they can help you evaluate, is this enough of an asset inventory or do we need to do more? And then they can help you maybe come up with some questions for the attorneys. That might be something that I need to be involved in. It might not be. I'll make sure to keep my schedule as open as possible so that we can make that happen. Y'all are definitely a huge priority for me, so we'll try and get that on my calendar as well. But I think they should be able to. I think Epic can just take a look at it and say yes, we need more, or no. That's my hope, anyways. So, okay, sounds great. Apologies again for not having Epic at this meeting. I think the holidays just kind of set everything back, so I appreciate everybody's patience.
Yep, same thing at work. Like, it's a pretty sizable chunk of my employer staff has been out for various holidays and everything. A lot of people didn't come back until today. So,
Wow.
Yep.
That's a long break. I'm jealous.
We've got Ireland, Shenzhen, and Hong Kong. So yeah, when you split it across all these different holidays and time zones and cultures and everything, it's always a pretty decent chunk of the companies out for some reason or another. Yeah, well, they're all seasonal, so totally. All right. Well, thank you all for the extra time, and thank you again for inviting me to the board meeting. I think we're in a really good spot right now, so we'll just keep on trucking. Jesse, with your permission, I'll just go ahead and extend those work group meetings out another month or two, just so we can get it on everybody's calendar. Sounds good. All right. Have an excellent evening, everybody. Thank you for your time. Likewise. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye. Take care, everybody.